Hey guys, MP Carlson here. Welcome to another weekly cycle podcast, the first one of 2018. So before I get into what I actually want to talk about today, I have a couple of announcements that I'm just going to go ahead and say, just to get them out there. The first one being that as of today, I am officially closing my Patreon account. I'm going to go into more detail as to why a bit later on because it will make more sense after what I'm going to talk about in this video. So keep hold for that. The second one is that I was recently on Poopcast with Jimmy Davis and a guy that loves pooping. It was last week actually, but I think it's coming out this Monday because they usually do them in 2-week intervals, and because of the time zones it was kind of awkward, and last week was the only time I really had to be on. So if you're interested, you can go listen to that. I'm kind of interested to hear it back because I don't remember exactly how it went. But anyway, let's get into what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to give my 2 cents, I suppose, on the whole YouTube monetization partner program changes that have happened or are going to happen in about a month's time. I did say a little bit about this on Twitter, but I think it would be better if I just went in more depth in a podcast about my thoughts on it. I think it's a good thing. And I know that there are a lot of people who disagree with me on that, but I do actually think that this is going to benefit YouTube and YouTubers in the long run. So basically, if you don't know what's going on, as of February 20th, YouTube are implementing new changes, and they are basically putting up the height requirements in order to be accepted into the YouTube Partner Program and monetize your videos. So basically, now what you need is at least 1,000 subscribers and at least 4,000 hours of watch time within the past 12 months. And to clarify, 4,000 hours of watch time, that is not like you have to upload 4,000 hours of video or anything like that. If you upload one 10-minute video and it gets 1 view, that's 10 minutes. It gets 2 views, that's 20 minutes. You get 10 views, that's 100 minutes. You get 100 views, that's 1,000 minutes. And basically, the minimum requirements are still pretty low, but I know that that seems like a big thing for some smaller YouTubers. And, you know, I'm not exactly a big YouTuber, and even though some of you guys tell me that I am. But basically, what I want to do is clarify some things, because I know that I've had discussions and things on Twitter with people, and some people are getting confused about this, and some misinformation is going around. And I know I'm not exactly reaching a massive audience here. I don't exactly have a massive audience, and even so, a very small amount of my audience actually listens to these podcasts in the first place. So I know I'm reaching a very small demographic here, but I don't care. So basically, I was trying to think of a good analogy for this, and I was originally going to go with the whole, YouTube Partner Program is a roller coaster, and there's a height requirement, and basically YouTube are putting the height requirement up. But then that doesn't really explain the whole kicking people if they're already on the ride off. So I think I've come up with a better analogy. Imagine that YouTube is a pool, okay? And all YouTubers are in this pool, and when you jump in, you start off at the bottom. And you're under the water. And I know this, I'm not saying this is some kind of metaphor for drowning or anything like that. But imagine you start off at the bottom of the pool, right? And you want to get to the surface because you want to get some air. Air being monetization. There's some people who are already at the surface, and some people who've been at the surface for a long time, and they're confident swimmers, and they can reliably get their air just from swimming around the surface of the pool. There are some people who have only just reached the surface, and while they're not at risk of then sinking again, they're still not particularly confident swimmers. They're just kind of going and they're like, yeah, okay, I'm getting a bit of air, but at least I don't have to worry about sinking. And then there are the people who are still below the surface. Basically, on February 20th, YouTube is going to dump a whole bucket load of more water into the pool. So basically, the people who are confident swimmers on the surface, they're going to be fine. They're just going to rise up with the water. It's not going to affect them at all. But the problem is there's going to be some people who aren't very confident swimmers and they've only just got to the surface. If there's a whole load of more water put in, they're at risk of then going back down under the surface, and they're going to have to try harder, and it's going to take longer for them to get back up to the now higher surface level. But the problem was, and the reason why they did this, is because there was way too many people just jumping in the pool thinking, oh, I'm going to jump in this pool and I'm going to get a whole load of air just from doing a little bit of paddling. But the thing is, swimming around in a pool is not a reliable source of air. I mean, you can go get air somewhere else. You can just go over to your local forest and get some air from the trees. Not the suicide forest, although that does seem to be an option apparently. But unless you're a very confident swimmer and you can sustainably stay on the surface of the water and reliably get your air from there, then you weren't exactly in the situation where you could get all your air from being in the pool. Right, you had to go out sometimes and you had to get air from somewhere else. Are you still following me with this? So, to break the analogy for a sec and explain it in actual terms, after this change, some people will be kicked out of the YouTube Partner Program. But the thing is, once you're in the YouTube Partner Program, aside from this one change, once you're in there, you're in there. You're not going to be kicked out if you then dip below those height requirements again. Once you've got in, you're in, aside from this one change. This one change is going to kick a load of people out. But the thing is, the people who aren't getting kicked out, they're not at risk of getting kicked out. I mean, I know some people were worried about some of their favorite YouTubers, some of the more bigger YouTubers, and they're going to have to like keep up above that requirement. No, this isn't going to affect them in any way, shape or form. In fact, if anything, it's probably going to benefit them because, to go back to the pool analogy, they're going to have a bit more room on the surface to swim. But the thing is, after this change, if you're kicked out, yeah, it's going to take time and work if you want to get back in. But if you do get back in, once you're in, you're in. You're not going to get kicked out again unless sometime in the future YouTube decides to change it again, right? So that's what some people are getting confused about. You don't have to now always keep above that line, right? Some people have been pushed below that line, but if you can get above that line again, you will stay there unless they change it again. If you didn't get kicked out, you're not at risk of ever getting kicked out. And here's one of the main things as well. If you were kicked out, and if you are now below the minimum requirements to be in the partner program, then I'm sorry to say this, but you were nowhere near doing this for a living or anything like that. It takes a long time and a lot of work for you to be able to do YouTube as a living. I know a lot of people do, but there are way, way more people who don't. And the thing is, you shouldn't go into YouTube with the mindset of, I'm going to do this for a living, I'm going to earn money. I heard something on the news this morning as I woke up, actually. Somebody said that there was a poll, and apparently in the UK, more people want to be a YouTuber blogger, as they put it, than a TV or movie star. The thing is, neither of those are exactly very easy to do. But if you have the mindset of doing YouTube just to get money, then you're in the wrong place. I know there isn't really anywhere else to go, but it's the channels that are passionate about doing YouTube, passionate about making videos. People who started YouTube not because they even gave a second thought about doing it for a living, but just because they wanted to make videos. Those are the people who should do it as a living. And just to clarify, I don't do it as a living, even though some of you seem to think I do. I'm nowhere near that. I mean, I'm close enough to that I'm not going to get kicked out after this change. But even so, there is a way, way, way longer road to where I am to doing it as a living than there is between starting a YouTube channel with nothing and getting to the level that you're able to be monetized. So think of it like that. They've made the road a little bit longer in order to get to the YouTube Partner Program from the very beginning. But once you're in the YouTube Partner Program, there is still a way, way longer road before you're able to do this for a living and get reliable income from YouTube. There's a way, way longer road. So if you were worried that now, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this as a living because I've been kicked out, you still had a hell of a way to go. I don't know if you were thinking that you were close, but yeah, I get it. I mean, for some people, it's not like, okay, I want to do this as a living. It's just nice to get a bit of extra money on the side. You know, a lot of people have jobs. I'm probably going to have a job soon, but it's not something that you want to go into with the mindset of, I'm going to get money and I'm going to do this for a living. You want to go into YouTube because you enjoy making videos, whatever they may be, whatever type of videos they are. You just want to do it because you're passionate about it. And like I said on Twitter, getting money from YouTube shouldn't be considered an obligation. It should be considered more of a perk. The main benefit of doing YouTube is because you love doing it, alright? If you can get a little bit of money on the side, then yeah, great. If you can get enough to earn a living from YouTube, then that's even better. But don't make that your goal. If you want to start YouTube because you want to make a living off of YouTube, then you're going to have to accept that it's going to be a long, long road before you ever get there, if you ever do. And I'm sorry to say this, but a lot of people won't ever get there. And I've perfectly come to accept that. I mean, about a year or a year and a half ago, I can't remember when it was, I made a vlog saying about how I wanted to do this as a living. And that's how I started my Patreon and stuff. And I wanted to make this channel big enough so that I could do it as a living. And I know this is going to sound kind of depressing, but that dream's completely gone now. And I'm fine with that. I don't care about that. I'm perfectly happy to go out and get a small menial job that I don't really have to put a load of my passion into, but something I can just do to earn a living, and then I can do this. This is the fun stuff. YouTube is the fun part. YouTube is not what I want to do for a reliable income. It's what I want to do because it's just fun. Because it's something I've always loved to do. if I can get my stuff out to a bigger audience, then that's great. And that was one of the other main points, is that if your videos are not monetized, then your channel is probably going to grow a lot slower. You're not exactly going to get much of an audience. And I can understand that. Something that I came to realize, I don't think the size of your audience really matters. I mean, sure, it's great if you got more people appreciating what you do. But when I started my YouTube channel back in 2014, when I got one comment on one of my videos, I was so thrilled. And then I started getting a little bit more, and it was crazy. I was ecstatic about it, that people were actually watching my videos. And I feel like the problem is now I've gotten to the point where I just expect that. Like, I'll put out a new video and then I'll be like, okay, well, it's been out about 5 minutes. There's probably a bunch of comments on there. And then I go read them, and there's not that thrill there. So I'm not saying that I prefer it if I was back where I started or anything like that, but I think you have to appreciate the audience you've got, however small it is. So if you're thinking about this whole change as I'm not going to reach a bigger audience now, then if you can still reach someone, then I don't see how that's a bad thing. I'm kind of just rambling here, so I would advise to take most things I'm saying with a little pinch of salt as well. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on it. I do agree with most of what YouTube has done here. There are a couple things I disagree with. I mean, I do think that kicking people out if they don't meet the requirements wasn't exactly the best idea. I don't exactly have a better solution. I think that does help, but it has seemingly punished a bunch of people who didn't exactly deserve it. If you are in that category and you've been recently kicked out of this monetization thing, I don't know, maybe this made you feel a bit better about it. There is a couple other things I disagree with. People who have been in the partner program and earned up a bit of money but haven't quite reached the threshold to pay that money out, then they're thinking, well, am I ever going to get that money? I think you probably will. I don't think YouTube are going to be, well, I say that, but then based on YouTube's track record, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. But I guess that's just kind of something you're going to have to accept. That sucks. And I wish you luck that you'll be able to get back into the partner program just enough so that you'll be able to pay that money out. That kind of stinks. But one thing I really wish had happened is that instead of just being very vague and doing a few tweets and sending a very vague email out to a bunch of people, I wish that YouTube would just, I mean, they have their own channels, right? They have people working there who have their own channels. I wish they would just make a video explaining this more in detail, like calmly explaining everything, how it's going to benefit everyone in the long run, and clearing up any kind of misinformation that is caused because of this vague explanation of what's going on. I think that would just be much more beneficial, because then they wouldn't have to rely on other YouTubers making videos about this and clarifying and saying, this is what YouTube meant when they told you this. YouTube should be clear enough the first time. And that's one thing that I don't think will ever change. But anyway, I don't want to turn this into a rant on YouTube, because I honestly think they did the right thing here. They could have done a couple things a bit differently, but I do think they made the right decision here, and I don't understand where a lot of the hate is coming from. I think a lot of it is just coming from misinformation and people not quite understanding what's happening here and thinking that it's just another stupid move by YouTube that's going to badly affect smaller creators. But, you know, I'd be interested in hearing other people's opinions on this. I mean, I have heard other people's opinions on this, but if you want to leave yours in the comments, then by all means do. And so from that, moving on to another thing I wanted to talk about is that as of today, I'm officially closing my Patreon. I guess it's kind of to do with this, but I've kind of had this going around in my head for a few months now, and I have wanted to close it because I'm just not using it. I'm really not using it, and I feel bad that some of you guys are patrons and are actually donating money to me, and I feel like I don't deserve it, and I don't think you should keep doing that. I mean, I really appreciate it, and it's really nice, but I don't think I've been nice enough to you guys. I've got a bunch of messages on there. I haven't replied to a single one of them, and I feel really bad about that. And ultimately, there's no rewards or anything on there. I don't pay attention to the Patreon, and I think that it's just kind of a cheap way of getting a bit of extra money from some of my gullible fans. And I'm not trying to insult you. I'm really appreciative of you donating money to my Patreon, but I think I'm just gonna have to close it. I'm not using it. I don't feel like I deserve the money that has been given to me from it, and so I just want to say thank you to any of you who were patrons. and I'm sorry that I didn't treat you with enough respect while you were. But I'm just gonna close it because I don't need money. I mean, I guess I technically do need money. I don't exactly have a job at the moment, and I'm not exactly earning a living from YouTube or anything like that, which is sort of related to what I was just talking about. But I don't need the money from Patreon, and I don't feel like I deserve it, so I'm gonna close it. So yeah, thank you for being patrons. I'm sorry about not exactly paying much attention to you in return for you paying money to me. And I suppose that kind of leads on to some of the stuff that's going to be happening on the channel in the coming months. Like I've said in my Christmas vlog, what 2018 will bring. This year is definitely going to be a more relaxed year for this channel. It's definitely not going to be as crazily ridiculous as 2017 was. I did so much in 2017 that I just feel like, no, I can't keep that up. I think I need a whole year to just kind of relax and be a bit more nonchalant about making videos. Not to say that they're necessarily going to be slowing down or they're going to be worse or anything like that. You know, I'm still making them. But I think the difference is that there's going to be more going on in my personal life this year than there was last year. Last year I wasn't doing anything, so I could just dedicate 100% of my time to YouTube. This year, you know, I want to you know, put more focus into actually getting somewhere with my personal life. And that seems to be happening already, which is really good. But yeah, don't always expect the 2 to 3 videos every month like there was last year. It's probably going to be more like 1 video a month or something like that. Or maybe less. I don't know. They're probably going to do shorter videos, like I said in the vlog as well. I'm not going to work on massive projects because there was a bunch of massive projects last year and the year before that. I don't really have any massive projects planned for this year. It's just going to kind of be a lot of smaller stuff, you know. Smaller YouTube poops, collab entries and things like that. There's definitely the tennis round that's still coming. And just little small things I'm going to make here and there. I'm not going to work on any kind of massive projects that's going to take a bunch of time and dedication to. I just kind of want to be a bit more relaxed this year. And I hope you guys can understand that. So yeah, I guess that's all I really wanted to say. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to mention. So thank you for listening. And again, if you're interested in hearing me talk a bit more, then go ahead and check out the next Poopcast. It's coming out this Monday. I think it's coming out this Monday. Don't take my word for that. I think it is, though. I'm not exactly sure how much enjoyment you're going to get out of that, because I think I kind of dipped in and out of talking quite a bit and then staying completely silent for about 20 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to listen to that back and see exactly how I did. But I think I did alright. And again, if you're interested in hearing me talk more about YouTube and my YouTube channel and YouTube poop with Jimmy and Logan, then go ahead. But yeah, I guess that's it. So thanks for listening, and goodbye.